This is a fictional mindbender. So I'm sure by now that word has gotten out that there's going to be a new Highlander film starring Henry Cavil that's going to be starting filming this year. I think this has been under the radar a bit mainstream-wise, but Cavill fans and Highlander fans are, or at least should be, aware of this. So that being said, what are we to expect from this new incarnation? If the last 15 years has taught us anything, it's that to not expect a new version of your favorite franchise to be exactly the same as it was or how you envisioned it should be. But what does this mean for Highlander? So, for starters, it's worth recognizing where most of our expectations come from. That is, the first Highlander movie, the TV series from the 90s, and I think anyway, the other Highlander movie, Endgame, the last good one. It's fair to say that most of the characters will not be reincarnated into the movie, with the obvious exception of Connor MacCloud, of course. The movie, I think, will be much more in-depth story-wise than the original one, which itself was good for an 80s flick, but still rather straightforward. Immortals coming to their apocalyptic conclusive end for their centuries-long battles to claim the mysterious prize. And at this point, I'm expecting that they will borrow elements from the TV series as well, like maybe the Watchers and even the Hunters, for example, the renegade Watchers who killed immortals instead of just watching them. These factions really turned the show around in terms of world building, making it more in-depth, and being more than just a one-note copy of the movies. And it can also be used to explore the philosophical elements of immortality as well, though not too in-depth because it's just a movie at this point. Time constraints and patience of the casual viewer to consider. The Kurgan will probably be more in-depth as well as a villain. The original version, played by Clancy Brown, was good in terms of intimidating physicality and charisma, but he was also a classic 80s baddie. He looked evil, acted evil, and sounded evil. End of story. No Darth Vader redemption arc here. Nowadays, though, people are expecting a bit more to their villains, though I don't always agree with this approach. If done well, though, it could make the Kurgan even more legendary than he already is. Also, too, and I'm not saying this as a political point, I expect more female characters in it as well, and for sure, more female immortals. The 80s usually had the woman holding the place of the damsel in distress. The TV series, though, slowly grew out of this and expanded it into a much larger and nuanced spectrum that I think the franchise needed. Because honestly, seeing someone who's always screaming, save me, is rather annoying. And again, Highlander the series did show that you can have a capable and badass female character while also maintaining their femininity and controlling their own sexuality as well. I'm also going to be expecting more background into the origins of the game, the secret rules where immortals duel each other and take each other's heads, and claim the prize, ultimately. This was an aspect that has long loomed over the franchise as to what this was and why it existed. Who made these rules? Why did the game come into existence in the first place? What happens if you break those rules? And so on. The last Highlander movie that came out sucked in delivering an answer to this question, which is why the franchise pretty much died after that. For the new movie, though, I'm hoping that they will again attempt to dive more into this, but just do a better fucking job at it. I want more than just to watch a bunch of sword fighting and lightning shows, which for sure should be better. And speaking of sword fighting and lightning shows, that goes into my last expectation for the movie. Better martial arts and better fights. Choreography and martial arts expectations, as well as many martial arts out there, have greatly expanded and become more nuanced and well-known since even the TV series ended. So I'm expecting better sword fighting and better martial arts overall and better choreography to deliver the high expectations that the name Highlander carries when it comes to martial arts and sword fighting. It can't be a copy of what was in the 80s where it's just like block, attack, and whatever. Or something that looks so slow and cumbersome that it just takes you out of reality. Any good show or movie with any kind of martial arts in it, whatever the style, usually does so at a faster pace and is more fluid than what used to be. Hell, even the Blade movies back from the 90s had better martial arts than the original movies did. And keep in mind, I actually did like the first Highlander movie, so there you are. But having said that, I am expecting better sword fights, maybe more sword fights, and hopefully some other styles as well to be thrown into the mix. Not just your typical Chinese and Japanese martial arts, but maybe some more stuff with African martial arts and European martial arts as well, to a degree. But having said that, if you are a fan of the Highlander franchise or of Henry Cavill, let me know what your expectations are. This is the Fictional Mindbender. Have a good day.